Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon. It is me, your homegirl Ladosha Wright, the author of What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon and a children's book, Curly Hair Adventures. Today we are going to be talking about gray hair. So gray hair is a topic that always comes up in the hair salon. So to make sure that I'm on point, I actually wrote down a couple of notes so that we can stay focused about what they don't tell you at the hair salon about gray hair. I will. Remember to subscribe to my channel at the bottom of the screen. Also, I will include all the information about the products that I use. And don't forget to hit that like button, okay? So let's jump right to it. So here we go. The first thing that people want to know about gray hair is, well, let's ask her. So, Miss Keisha, tell me, is there anything that you want to know about your beautiful gray hair?
One of the main things is how do I take care of it so it doesn't get wiry and stick out?
I'm sure. So she says the first thing she wants to know is how does she take care of it so it doesn't get wiry and so it doesn't stick out. Okay. So before we answer that question, I want to let everyone know exactly what gray hair is, because before we went on camera, you know, she said, "What is this stuff? And where did it come from?" Then you asked that, and she said, "How did that? It just came out of nowhere, and you know, how did this happen?" So here's what we know for sure about gray hair. Gray hair can come in two ways. The most popular way that we all get gray hair is it is a genetic assignment. That's number one. Number two, you can have environmental stressors that can bring on gray hair. Environmental stressors can be diet. Environmental stressors can be medicine. Environmental stressors can also be styling tools and products that you put on your hair. So you can actually alter your hair, you can make it gray. You can take medication and it can do something, you know, to your, the second level of your hair is called your cortex, and cause it to lose a little melanin, or you can become mineral deficient and your hair can start to, you know, change colors. And and then stress does the same thing. When you become stressed, your body will start to deplete minerals, and when your body starts to deplete minerals, sometimes it can alter the color of your hair. Because what they don't tell you at the hair salon is that gray hair is actually a hair disorder, and the disorder is when your hair actually naturally loses its pigment. So when people think that gray hair is something that, you know, they painted on or whatever, for most people it's a natural phenomenon, or like we said, environmental stressors, that the color that you see is now starting to go away because of the, you know, the melanin that's starting to remove off the second layer. So you have that. Now, when it comes to what's making the gray hair difficult, so these are like the top 5 to 6 things that I hear about gray hair. So like she said, number one, that gray hair is difficult and it is wiry. So first of all, gray hair, what you're more looking at is the optical illusion. Because you don't have color, you can really see the little funkiness that's happening with the strands of hair as it responds to whatever environment. So if you're somewhere moist, if you're somewhere where it's hot and humid, or if you're exercising where it's moist and clammy, because the hair is white, you can actually see the hair respond more in real time compared to when your hair is dark. So some of the times what you're looking at on the hair when you're talking about difficult is actually the optical illusion, because you can see the hair performing, whereas when it was darker, it was the same strand that was sticking up, but now that it's white, you're like, oh my God, this hair is actually wiry. So part of it is the optical illusion. The other part, when the hair is wiry, it could be the actual product that you are using on your hair. They do have products that are formulated for gray hair to make the hair softer and also to keep the hair nice and silvery, in which I will go over that as well. All right, number two, yellow. Have you ever had any concerns about your hair being yellow?
No.
No. Did you hear that? No. So, and I'm glad she said that, because a lot of people think that gray hair just naturally, or they hate it because it turns yellow. So what they don't tell you at the hair salon is, like my guest, Miss Rakisha here, who's never had a concern about her hair turning yellow, and she shouldn't, number one, because I'm doing it, okay? And then number two is because she's not doing things to actually cause her hair to turn yellow. So what causes gray hair to turn yellow? The most common reason why gray hair turns yellow is because of smoke. So smoke could be what you're actually smoking, or number one. Number two, your actual curling irons. If the iron that you're using, or the styling implement that you're using on your hair, is too hot, what will happen is the heat will release the sulfur. And the yellow is the actual sulfur that's, expressing itself, if you will, onto the hair. And so you need to not use so much heat, number one. And if you're a smoker, it's the carcinogen from the actual cigarette, the film, that's leaving a cast onto the hair. Now, when you burn the hair, you can use products, and we'll go over some of those, that can diminish the yellow, but once the hair is singed, unfortunately, you will have to grow it out because it is officially altered, with the heat. In the event that your hair is turning yellow because you're smoking, it's the same result. If you're a smoker, more than likely you will have like a brown cast, because that's the color of the carcinogen from the nicotine. And after a period of time, especially if you're a heavy smoker, whether it's marijuana, it doesn't matter, all you weed heads out here, I don't want to hear that crap, okay? Smoke is smoke is smoke, okay? But with the cigarette smoke, it will have more of a brown film onto the hair because of the tobacco, and the same if you're smoking marijuana because of the leaf, okay? So you will see the carcinogenic film onto the hair if you're a heavy smoker. So what I recommend is, if you're using an implement, you must turn down the heat. If you're a smoker, they have smokeless ashtrays, or you're gonna have to hold your cigarette out the window or something like that, so that the smoke does not get onto your hair, because the products that's anti-yellowing will not take that off the hair. You will have to grow that out. There's not too much you can do, okay? So the next one up is that the other common thing that we hear about gray hair is that you can't color it. I hear this, I'm a master colorist for Fermisi. I was certified and trained by Fermisi, and I hear a lot of people complain that, my gray hair won't cover. Now, my hair is 100% white. She is what we would call salt and pepper. So she's like 50% of her hair is her natural black hair, and then 50% of it is her white hair. So this, to the eye, is going to look gray or silver, all right? And so when it comes to coloring hair, it's always about formulation. When you're covering or you're coloring gray hair, you have to use a product that is specifically formulated for color treated hair. If you are using products such as these semi-permanent colors, so a lot of people want the mermaid hair. So this is Joico, this is what we call a semi. You guys out there in the real world call them rinses. I don't know why, because they do not rinse off. So rinse is a user-friendly word, but trust me, this stuff does not rinse off. If you're putting this type of color on top of white hair, you're going to actually pick up the color. So it won't cover the gray, it will stain the gray. When you're looking at my hair color, where you don't see any gray, this is formulation. So when you're coloring gray hair, it's not the same as painting. It's actually all about formulation. So gray hair will cover, provided you are using a color line that is formulated for coloring and covering gray hair. Your semi-permanents, or what you guys call rinses, these do not cover gray, they stain gray, which we don't really consider that hair coloring. We really consider that hair staining, and it's almost impossible to get off the hair. So don't play around with this stuff. Leave this to your licensed, professional, certified colorist. All people who have a license can't color hair, guys, so be careful, all right? All right, so gray hair will cover. You can cover it, provided your colorist knows how to formulate. Next, when they're talking about the gray hair won't color, Usually it's because they're thinking that the hair is resistant. Gray hair is not about being resistant. Again, it's about the line of color and how the company formulates the actual color in the tube so that when we, the colorists, go to put it on the hair, it will actually cover. Most of the times what people are looking at is the hair growing out. That's the number one concern and complaint about hair coloring, is that when I color my hair, it's like 3 days later, I can see gray hair. And we're like, you should. Yes, you should. Because your hair grows every day, all day, for 365 days a year times 7. So each individual strand of hair lives for 7 years, and it's always growing. The only way the hair won't grow is if you have a hair disorder where the hair won't grow. So provided that's not the case, when you color your hair, when you cut your hair, if you cut your hair on Monday or you color your hair on Monday, Wednesday, you're gonna see white hair. So if you do not like that, then don't put color on your hair because it's high maintenance. So do you have a desire to color your gray hair?
Not at all.
You hear that? Not at all. So that's my last point, is that a lot of people, you hear all this stuff about, gray hair ages you unless you're putting it in. It's the new style now. Gray hair does not age you. Your attitude does, okay? So this is her hair. It's naturally, I've never put anything in it to give her more of this. This is hers for free, and she has no desire to alter it, and she doesn't feel like she's old. You don't feel old with this thing. And do you get a lot of compliments about
I get
it?
a lot.
A lot.
Great stylist.
You have. She has a great stylist. Just shameless plug, okay? So you can have beautiful gray hair if your goal is to, well, I like that. I want to add this to my hair.